Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. Today we will learn about life processes. So what is life processes? Processes that help in carrying out metabolic functions of living organism. Processes that helps in carrying out metabolic function of living organism. Now what do you mean by metabolism? What do you mean by metabolism? Metabolism is equals to catabolism plus anabolism. Kata means kata. Kata means kata. Means breakdown of food. Remember the word kata. Breakdown of food. And anabolism means formation of food, synthesizing of food. So these processes which takes place in the living organism, this processes is known as life processes. This processes is known as life processes. Now, in life processes, you will see these are the processes which takes place in the living organism. These are the processes which takes place in the living organism. Movement, reproduction, growth, control and coordination, that means your nervous system and endocrine system, excretion, transportation, respiration, nutrition. Clear? Now, we will go one by one in all the processes. We will study about all the processes. But first, today we will study about the nutrition. Today we will study about the nutrition and especially nutrition in plants. Okay. Now, what do you mean by nutrition? What do you mean by nutrition? Nutrition is a process of obtaining or deriving food necessary for growth and health. Nutrition is a process in which an organism obtains food or derive food necessary for good health and growth. Clear? So, there are two types of nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition. Auto means self. Auto means self. Auto means self. And trop means feed. Feed. So self-feed. They can prepare their food by themselves. They can prepare their food on their own. Clear? Now, they use simple inorganic substances. They use simple inorganic substances to prepare food. And when they use light energy, when autotrophs uses light energy, that process is known as photosynthesis. When they use chemical energy, that process is known as chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis. Now, in heterotrophic, they obtain energy through intake and digestion of organic substances. They use inorganic substances. They use organic substances. They use inorganic substances and they use organic substances. There are three modes of heterotrophic nutrition: holozoic nutrition, saprophyte ism, parasitism. In holozoic nutrition, organisms feed by ingesting solid food, organic matter, which is then digested and absorbed into their bodies, like we take. We have adapted the mode of holozoic nutrition. We intake this solid food, it is digested and absorbed in our body cells. Clear? For example, humans and animals. Is it clear? I am repeating it, that organisms feed by ingesting solid organic substances which is then digested and absorbed into their bodies. Example, humans and animals. Saprophyte ism. Saprophyte ism is a mode of nutrition in which an organism obtain their food from dead and decaying organic matter. An organism obtain their food from dead and decaying organic matter. Okay, suppose you will see the dead bodies which are buried under the in the ground, under the ground. That is, after few years, it has been decomposed. It has been mixed into the soil. How it has been mixed? It is the saprophyte who has fed on it. It is the saprophyte who had fed on it. Clear? And you will see, if you eat some your fruits and if you have thrown the peels in the soil, you will see after few days it has been mixed with the soil. So who has decomposed it? It is the saprophytes who has decomposed the organic matter. So, who are the saprophyte? Bacteria and fungi. Bacteria and fungi. Parasitism. Parasitism, they obtain the nutrients from the host organism. Now, what do you mean by the host organism? Suppose lice. Lice, it is in our body. It stays in our body and we are the host for them. We are the host for them. They obtain food from our body and feed on it. Obtains nutrient by living organism on or in the body of his. Like on is your lice and tapeworm. Tapeworm is in your intestine. It also feeds the, it resides in your abdominal cavity and it takes food from the host, which is, who are the host? We are the host. Clear? So now we will study in details about the nutrition in plants. We will study in details about the nutrition in plants. So, who prepare food for the plant? Who are autotrophs? Who are autotrophs? Green plants are the autotrophs. Who are autotrophs? Green plants are the autotrophs. Now, how do they prepare their food? They utilize carbon dioxide. What are the raw materials they utilize for preparing their food? Carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. Carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. If the chlorophyll pigment is not there, they would not be able to perform photosynthesis. If the sunlight is not there, if any of the raw material is missing, they would not be able to perform photosynthesis. They would not be able to prepare their own food. Okay, so the purple leaves cannot prepare their food on their own. Okay, they prepare, the chlorophyll pigment has to be there. It has to be green plants. It has to be green plants. And heterotroph, you all know that they obtain food from the autotrophs directly or indirectly. They depends on autotroph. Heterotroph depend directly or indirectly on autotrophs. Now we will study about the photosynthesis. Okay. So this was about the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the biochemical process in which the green plants utilize carbon dioxide, water and sunlight to prepare food. What food? Carbohydrates, and releases oxygen as a byproduct. This is the definition of photosynthesis. Now what are the keywords? Carbon dioxide, sunlight, green plants, water. To prepare food or glucose or carbohydrate, whatever you write, and releases oxygen as a byproduct. It is a biochemical process. Clear? Now we will study in details. So photosynthesis takes place, it has two reactions: light dependent reaction, light independent reaction. In light dependent reaction, it uses light dependent reaction, it uses energy from sunlight. What does it use? It uses energy from sunlight. Then it utilizes water and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, okay, CO2. Okay, it utilizes carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to produce ATP. Energy which we are using, it produces ATP, NADPH and O2. The energy which we are using, it produces ATP. What is the full form of ATP? ATP is adenosine triphosphate, the energy rich compound, the compound which gives us energy. Means whatever we are doing, the energy from where we are getting the energy, we are getting the energy from carbohydrates. Carbohydrate is getting oxidized in the process of respiration and it releases energy in the form of ATP, and thus we are able to work. Okay, so to produce ATP, NADPH and O2. Now there are the three events. There are the three events that takes place during photosynthesis. Number one, activation of chlorophyll by absorbing sunlight. Activation of chlorophyll by absorbing sunlight. First it absorbs sunlight and the chlorophyll gets activated. This is the first thing which takes place in the light reaction. Light reaction takes place in grana, and coming into it. Okay, this is the structure of chloroplast. You can see that there are two membranes. It is a double membrane structure, It is a double membrane structure. This is outer membrane, this is inner membrane, and in between this there is an intermembrane space. There is a coin-like structure which are known as thylakoid. There is a coin-like structure which are known as thylakoid. The chlorophyll pigment is, or chloroplast is, chlorophyll pigments are present in it. Where is the chlorophyll pigments are present? It is present in the thylakoids. Okay, and collectively it is known as granum. Collectively it is known as granum, and these are the lamella. These are the lamella, and the colorless substance on which the thylakoids are placed, that is known as stroma. That is known as stroma. And inside the thylakoid lumen are there where the chlorophyll are present. So where does the light reaction takes place? Light reaction takes place in grana or thylakoid, and a dark reaction takes place in stroma, in this stroma, the floor. So what is the chemical equation for photosynthesis? 6CO2 plus 12H2O. Okay, with the help of chlorophyll and sunlight, it forms glucose and releases oxygen as a byproduct and water. Clear? CO2 plus water plus chlorophyll and sunlight gives glucose and releases oxygen as a byproduct and water. Clear? Now, so I have told you the first step, that activation of chlorophyll by absorbing photons. What is photons? Photons is the unit of light energy. Photons are the unit of the light energy. When it absorbs photon, the chlorophyll gets activated. The chlorophyll gets activated. So then in the second step, there is a photolysis of water. Photo means light. Photo means light. And wherever you see the word photo, it relates to light. And lysis means breakdown. Lysis means breakdown or splitting. Lysis means breakdown or splitting of water. Okay, so photolysis of water, when it was the water, what is the formula of water? H2O. So it will break down into H plus plus OH minus. So there are the 2H2O gives 4H plus electrons, and you can see 4H plus ions and 4 electrons and oxygen. 2H2 absorbs 4 photons, gives 4H plus ions, 4 electrons and oxygen. Clear? Now, what are the fate of these products? What is the fate? What are the fate of these products? Hydrogen, electron and oxygen. The fate of H plus electron and oxygen are, this H plus is absorbed by NADP. What is NADP? Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. When it reacts with H plus ions, when it absorbs H plus ion, it forms NADPH. NADPH. That means nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate hydrogen. Clear? Then O component, when you will break one H2O, it will give as a nascent oxygen. That is why it is the 2 molecules of water is needed to give as a molecular oxygen. To release molecular oxygen as a byproduct, 2 molecules of water is needed. In 1 molecule of water, you will get only 1 nascent oxygen, only O. 2 molecules of water will give you molecular oxygen. Then oxygen O component is given out as a molecular oxygen. 2O gives O2. Now this electron. Electrons are used in converting ADP into energy rich compound by adding one inorganic phosphate. Now there is a process named as photophosphorylation. Now what is phosphorylation? Phosphorylation is from the word only you can understand. Phosphorylation means addition of phosphate. Okay, addition of phosphate. You are adding one phosphate. And photo, I told you, photo means light. So the conversion of, listen to me clearly, the conversion of ADP and plus inorganic phosphate to an energy rich compound ATP, this is known as photophosphorylation. ADP plus inorganic phosphate in the presence of light, it forms an energy rich compound known as ATP. Clear? And the third steps for the light reaction is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Clear? So I am repeating it. What are the three events that take place during photosynthesis? First, activation of chlorophyll by absorbing light energy. Second is photolysis of water. Third is reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Activation of sunlight, chlorophyll by absorbing light energy, photolysis of water, and reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Now we will go in light independent reaction. Light independent reaction, that means where it is forming a glucose. This reaction helps us in the forming a glucose. We will read about it. Okay, so I have written over here, light reaction takes place in thylakoid membrane and light independent reaction takes place in stroma. In thylakoid membrane of the chloroplast, in stroma of the chloroplast. Clear? Light reaction takes place in thylakoid membrane of the chloroplast and independent reaction takes place in stroma of the chloroplast. Okay, the CO2 and the ATP which they have got from light reaction and NADPH, CO2, ATP, NADPH, this it forms to produce glucose. It unites to form glucose, to produce glucose. And ATP is again broke down into ADP plus inorganic phosphate. And NADPH is converted into NADP. CO2 is converted, CO2, ATP, NADPH, it produces glucose and it converts, ATP converts ADP into PI and NADPH converts into NADP. Okay, now light dependent reaction, this is the summary which we have read in the light reaction and light independent reaction. Light dependent reaction, you can see in the presence of light, water is broken down. It gives OHE, which I have already explained to you. OHE. This O is liberated as byproduct and this H is absorbed by NADP and forms NADPH, and this NADPH again breaks down H and which is reacts with CO2. Reduction, I told you, reduction of carbohydrates, carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Ultimately it forms glucose. The NADPH which has come from light reaction, when it breaks down into NADP and H+. This H+ reduces carbon dioxide and forms a glucose. And the ATP electron ADP plus PI, it forms ATP. Again it gives the electron back. This is a cycling. And again ATP comes here with the addition of inorganic phosphate, it forms ATP. Now what is polymerization? What is polymerization? Glucose is the monomer. Glucose is the monomer of a carbohydrate. When many glucose unite together, it forms a starch. It forms a starch. You all have read that plants store food in the form of starch. So glucose polymerization, this process, when the glucose are linked together, it forms a starch. This process is known as polymerization. When many glucose combines together to form a starch. Glucose is a monomer and starch is a polymer. This process is known as polymerization. So I hope this is clear to you all. In next class we will read about that why chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis, why CO2 is necessary for photosynthesis, why sunlight is necessary for photosynthesis. Till then, please watch this video. Stay safe, stay at home. If you have any doubt, please ping me, please let me know so that I can respond you back. Take care, stay safe, stay at home. Have a nice day.